Hi guys, Lizzie here today to show you a little bit about my Silly machine, or the Silhouette Studio software and the Cameo cutting machine, but I like to call it my Silly. First of all, I'm not an expert, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I just thought I was really excited when I got mine, and I really wanted to do a word with a shape underneath and sort of pop them together so that they came out all melded. So I thought I'd just show you how I go about that. Now this is all very much the more you do it, the more you learn, so bear with me. Plenty of other YouTube videos out there showing you what to do, but here's how I do it. Now the camera's fixed in position. I can't edit the filming that I'm doing, so I'm sorry if it's a bit long and convoluted and funny words come out of my mouth. So for the sake of the video, we'll call this the mat. What I want to do first is to add a word. To add a word, I have to go up to my A window here, which brings up my textile box. I want a nice fat word, so I'm going to go right down to where I see a nice fat font. Here we are. What about engraver? That will do. So then to get a word on my machine, I have to go over to the A button here, click on it, click on my mat, and you'll see a red line. I'm going to use my magnify button now to go in a bit closer because it'll be easy for you to see. If I've lost my red line, that's okay, because all I have to do is click out of it again, click on the red line. There we are. Okay, so I'll go up here and I'm going to write cap lock fun. Hey, that's really neat. See how this is quite skinny though? I don't think that's going to work. So I'm just going to click on the out of that box, click on so I get my box, delete it and find another font. I think what about Franklin Gothic? Franklin Gothic might work better. So I've clicked over my textile box, go back over to my A here, click on here and F-U-N. Oh, that's good. Okay, not big enough though. So what I want to do is make it bigger. Get out of that green box, that's for writing. Click on the edge and I have this box. If I go on the edge, I get an arrow, I can make it wider. If I go down here and get my arrow, I can make it longer. If I find the hand, I can move the whole box around. Another way of making your word longer is to still click it so you've got your box. Go back over here and you'll find a scale window at the top, and you can actually put in the exact dimension you want. So width I might want for 2, this comes up in inches, you can change it. Height I might want 4 inches, that is. That's what we're working in. And then I can just hit the apply button and it'll change it. Now the really good thing about the Silly machine is it has a back button and you can go back as many times as you like. So that button is really useful. So I've gone back a little bit and I've decided that for me it's easy just to make it wider that way and maybe not quite as high. So I'll just bring it in, find my arrow and bring it in that way. See how the spacing is quite wide? I don't want that. I keep my box up, go back to my A button. And down the bottom there's the thing that says character spacing. It's 100%, it's always on 100, but I'm going to make it less. So if I make it less, the letters come in closer together. Now see how, I don't know if you can see, I'll try and go up a bit closer. See how the F is over onto the U, but the N isn't? I don't want any of them joining. But when I move this, if I can get my hand, it's one shape. To ungroup the objects, I have that box around, I go down to the bottom left and a little thing here says ungroup objects. So if I click that, each of my letters is now a separate object. So because of that I can choose the F, get my move thing, move it away. Okay, that's better, that's how I want it. I might even move the U a little bit closer and leave the N there. Then if I want to group it again so I can move it all as one object, I just simply, press shift, hold it down, drag around it so that you can, see how I've only got 2 come up? I need all 3 come up. Press shift, drag it right round all 3 boxes. Now all 3 have come up, and then I go down to the bottom and I group selected shapes. So all of a sudden if I can get my hand up, there we are, fun moves around by itself. Okay, so I've got fun. I'm going to move that down out of the way, and now I want to do an arrow. Now the best I don't know how many people know this, but I found the best way to find an arrow is to go to Wingdings 3, which is still under your text style. Don't have your caps lock on, and then somewhere in here, oops, it's not going to work because I have to press my A button first and bring up my red. Somewhere in, look, there we are. I press G and I've got this really neat arrow. Okay, I only want one arrow, so click out of it, click on the edge, bring it down so you can see it a bit better. That's not long enough, it's got to be longer than my fun box, so I just bring fun up a little bit so I can make sure that I get it longer. If my fun, if I click on it, is 2.50 inches, I know I'm going to want my arrow longer than that, so I might just go straight over to my scale window and go 3 inches, 3.0, apply and see, oops, wrong way, go back to my back button, must be the width, 3.0, apply and see what happens. Oh yep, so I might want it a bit wider than that, mightn't I? So I'll just bring it, because it looks a bit out of proportion. Oops, I need to get the arrow to make it wider. Cool. And I still need it a bit longer, so an arrow over here to make it longer. Ooh. And then I think I still need it wider, so we'll bring it down a bit more. And now I can't see it, so I've got to go to the minus magnifying box so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, now I want to put my fun up on top of the arrow, so click on the box, bring it up, sit it on the arrow. Arrow needs to be a little bit longer, click on the arrow box, bring it out a bit more, and then move it over. And remember, this is close up, so it might seem like it's really huge, but it's actually not. Make it a bit wider, move it back onto the fun, and I'm just going to join the letters. Just going to overlap the fun onto the arrow because I want it to be one shape when it's finished. Okay, so I'm going to just move out a little bit more so I can see what I've done. Yep, that's looking pretty good. I like that. Now what I need to do is I need to group all the objects together. So I'm going to go back out on the wider mat. I'm actually going to move, I wonder if I can do it. If I press shift and then surround all those objects, I should be able to go down to the bottom left and group them. Let's see if I've done it. If it all moves in one, yes, it's all moved in one. So I've grouped that object into one object. Now what I need to do is I need to make it so that if I cut it now, I'll show you. Oops, get up a bit closer. And a bit closer again, because you really need to see it. It's grouped, but it's not melded. Can you see those little lines between the U and the arrow and the N and the arrow? If I cut it now, I go up to the cut button. This shows me where it cuts. It'll cut along there and along there and along there and along there. So it won't join. I'll have fun chopped off. I'll have the arrow cut into it. It'll look really awful. To stop that, what I need to do is I need to meld. I'll go back to the A. I need to meld my object so the letters melt in. So once more, I click it. So I've got the box up. Then I go up to the M for modify window and it says weld. I like to think of it as melding, but anyway, it says weld. Click the weld and then I'll show you what happens. It's like magic. Okay, all of a sudden we've lost those lines. Our cutting line now is one piece and it's just joined all together. So that's it. That's what I wanted to show you how to do. I hope that sort of makes sense. Now what I've got to do is I've got to show the whole cutting mat, and I want to see, I've got my cutting mat for my Cameo here. I want to see which way I need to put this little mat in. So I go up to the top to the left and there's a little red mat, and all of a sudden I've got the same thing. So I've got my arrow, I've got my word or my object. Now there's no use cutting it in the middle there, so I'm going to move it, get my hand and move it so I don't waste paper. Put it in the corner. That's good. Now if you think of this as a 12 by 12 sheet, that's about half it, which is a good size for a title, I think, because that's what I want to do this fun for. I don't have to use a whole piece of cardstock over here. All I need is a piece big enough to fit around my fun. If I click on it, I know it's 4.8 inches long and 1.8 inches wide. So if I've got a piece of cardstock 6 by 2, that's plenty, because I know exactly where to put it, because the lines on here match the lines on here. So that's ready to cut. Now what I need to do is go over to my, it looks like a drawing, it says Silhouette cut settings, and I've got special cardstock. I want to use my Stampin' Up! Cardstock. This is where I'm going to have to stop the tape in a little minute. And it's a user-defined one. It's not stationary. Or will I use the stationary? I'll use the stationary. No, won't use it. Yeah. Okay, so if I press, for example, print paper, which is photocopy paper, look down and you'll see the cutting blade has to be at a 1. It'll tell you the speed it cuts and the thickness it cuts. The higher the setting, the thicker the paper you can cut, and the slower you need to put the speed down. So I'm going to use my stationary cardstock. That's one I've put in. I have to set my blade at 4. The cutting speed is 2, which is quite good for cutting out shapes, and the thickness is 33, which is about right for 80 grams cardboard. Okay, so that's what I need to do. Now I have to go over to my cutting machine and make sure that those settings are all right. Normally I would do that now, but because I'm going to have to move the camera and I can't edit this, I'm going to pretend that that's done. So this is in the right spot. I'm going to pretend that this is right. Now I want to cut. So I go up here. You can do it other ways, but I go up here, it says Center Silhouette. And I've got, could not connect to the Silhouette. Duh, I haven't turned it on. So I'm just turning my Silhouette machine on. It's noisy. On all the little videos that Silhouette Cameo, Silhouette put out, it's such a quiet machine. It's not, it's noisy. So now it's connected. It's got the current settings. They're wrong. I'll have to change them. Then it says load the cutting mat into the Silhouette and cut the page. So I'm going to go stop the camera, go and get those settings ready, and then I will merely click cut page and it should cut. Okay, so I won't come back to this. Okay, so here is my Silhouette Cameo, my baby, my silly machine. To change the settings of the blade, I open it up. Sorry about where it's stuck in the corner. Twist that. Here's my blade. At the moment it's set on 4 and I need it on 4. So that's okay. Alright, so it's fine. Put it in, twist it back. These rollers are in the right position. It's turned on. You do need to be able to make sure, up here it says load set cutting mat or load media. Make sure it's on load cutting mat. I made that mistake. I've got my little piece of cardboard. I merely put it between the rollers. Press enter because I'm loading the cutting mat. And there it is, all ready to go. I know my shape's going to be cut out here. Then I go over and click cut page and wait for the noise, guys. I'm hoping I can speed this up, but my editing skills, it's not me, it's the computer. Okay, then it says unload, it's finished, so I click enter and it pushes it back out at me. I don't like to leave it on all the time. I'm a bit into saving paper. I wonder if I can just shove it back. Okay, my mat's been a little bit used. Yep, you can see that. I'm going to rip it off. And I've got this wonderful little spatula tool that I bought, which helps it get off the mat without wrecking it too much. And there we have it. Fun. What do you think? I think it's fun. It's really good. So that's an easy way to do it. Hope that's some help. Thank you. Bye.